must unite what has been set asunder.
We are TFR, Truth Frequency Radio.
Welcome, friends, readers, listeners, and viewers from across America and around the world. I'm your host, Zen Garcia. This is Secrets Revealed here on Truth Frequency Radio. Thank you for taking the time to join us this evening. I have a special guest with me, Laurel Austin. Laurel, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, just fine. And thanks for taking the time and having the willingness to join me. It's a week out now till the November conference in Denver, Colorado, the second annual International Flat Earth Conference. And so I wanted to announce also to the listening audience that the pictures that you took from the first annual conference will be contained in a book we'll be releasing there called the Flat Earth International, the International Flat Earth Conference Notes. And it's basically all the material that I gathered together for what would be the speech that I'll be giving there as a presenter on how I was able to decrypt the Book of Enoch, and how it was that only understanding the cosmology, and that is the sun and the moon, which are moving in circular revolution above the earth, that I was able to then make sense of and present in my ninth book, The Flat Earth as Key, to decrypt the Book of Enoch, the information on really how to bring all of that, all those chapters on the book on the courses of the heavenly luminaries into understanding, and to make sense of what is revealed in that particular portion of the text, which for the last 500 years, ever since humanity's embrace of the Copernican heliocentric model for understanding world, has become lost and remained riddle. And so all of that was my journey to awakening to flat earth and the idea of the biblical geocentric cosmology. And so that's kind of my testimony and what I'll be speaking on, and connecting it to a lot of other biblical concepts. But it's a lot of growth, a lot of movement, a lot of momentum, a lot of evolution since the last year. But can you talk about just, your experience there at the Flat Earth Conference, the first time, the individuals that you met, and what you've seen as far as the growth? But before you do so, if you would give out your website and contact information, and where people can go to see your photos. And also, do you have a section on your website that is specific to the conference and to all of the photos that you took there?
Well, my name is Laurel Austin, and that is also the name of my website, laurelaustin.com or laurelaustinstudio.com. I have two websites. Most people find me on Facebook, Twitter, and I'm also on Instagram. I do post a lot of Flat Earth stuff on the Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. I posted pictures from the conference last year. A lot of the pictures I took were of the speakers and of the crowd, a few interviews that I did. A lot of people are expecting to see their pictures in your book, so it's very exciting that it's coming out just in time for this second conference. And I'm looking forward to reading this book that you've got coming out, and reading all about your testimony. So, and I don't have a page for the conference at my website, but that is a really good idea. I should probably put one on there. So
yeah, absolutely. And especially since we're going to be gathering next week, and you'll have a whole nother section, or the, what would be the second annual event. And so you should have an ongoing series, as far as, because it is unique in that you were able to go to both the first and the second, and we'll be continuing in collaboration with Robbie and the other speakers, and we will have a presence there as Sacred Word Publishing. For those that don't know, Laurel works with us in that capacity as well, and takes a lot of photos and does book covers and things like that. Also works with us on calendars and different things. And so, um, yeah, I think that would be a really good idea to, make something like that. And you could even, offer to create prints or stuff like that for anybody that wanted to do so from your work, because the quality of your images are superb. And so, and also, just because you have done portfolio for a lot of what you used to be involved in with the beauty pageants and all of that. So can you speak about that as well, just to give kind of a background of your expertise in regard to photography?
Well, this is my 10th year of being a tax-paying legit photography studio, an LLC, and I've done everything from events and magazine work. I've done a few magazine covers, a few fashion spreads, bridal. I did a lot of weddings in the beginning. I don't really do any weddings now at all. I did do one this year, but it was just for a friend. I made an exception after 4 years. Most of my work is family portraits, high school seniors, and headshots. For about 4 years, I was the official pageant photographer for Miss USA in about 5 different states. And I also did the Mrs. United States in two more states. So that gave me about 7 states total. And that was a lot of fun. But I did step away from that. It was very taxing, the schedule and the traveling all the time, taking me away from my family. And but I do still do their headshots for the girls for the program books, leading up for the pageants that they have there at the pageant on the state level anyway, not the national, but just the state level. So that was a lot of fun. And then I continued doing events with you. We did the global versus flat earth debate last year in Atlanta with the Banoons of Israeli News Live, where you debated with Dr. Stephen Pidgeon. And that was a very exciting, very fun conference. We got to meet a lot of your listeners and people who have subscribed to you for a long time. That kind of spurned a lot of meetups, I think, because I don't really remember seeing that before the global versus flat earth debate. And met some local people that have followed you for a long time. And some people came out of the woodwork that I've known for a long time that followed you, and I didn't even know they followed you. So it was pretty fun. And then, of course, there was last November, the conference, which was a lot of fun. And I was there representing Sacred Word Publishing. We did a couple of interviews, got lots of pictures of everyone, posted those on Facebook. And I also did post those on my blog, which I don't usually update very often, but I have updated it with the conferences. I updated it when we went to the Georgia Guidestones, if you'll remember, right after the Flat Earth conference. Cool. And also the eclipse a year ago, August.
Yeah, so, that was amazing.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun too. So
yeah, that was an amazing experience. And speaking of the Banoons, how goes the conference there in Kansas City? Can you talk a bit about that?
So that's going to be December 1st and 2nd of this year. And Dr. Stephen Pidgeon will also be at that one. And looking forward to them coming in and showing them around Kansas City. And they're going to be discussing a lot of things, such as the founding of the State of Israel and 5G, transhumanism, biblical prophecy being played out in the Middle East. So that's just a little bit of what they're going. I mean, they haven't told me everything, but those are a few things that I know of that they're going to be speaking about. So
Interesting. And also, Stephen's going to be releasing at some point a book through us where he's going to be talking about his experiences and releasing some new information. So that'll
yeah,
be
he's
exciting
working
as
hard
well.
to get that done.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Um, well, excellent. I know they're busy and that they've been traveling, and also, well, I would ask that everybody pray for. Is it Yana's father or
His dad was
his
recently
dad?
sick.
Okay. Yeah.
And Yana is actually still recovering too. She had a bout with cancer and she feels much better now. But Yana is a very focused, determined individual who knows her body and her health. She starts feeling a little better though, and she starts taking care of everyone else again and not making
Right.
time to take care of herself. So she has
Yeah.
to pull back a little and, regroup, but she's doing very well right now.
She is an amazing individual as well. And for those that don't know the Banoons, they are the Israeli News Live on YouTube, and I think they're somewhere near like 200,000 subscribers or something of that, maybe even more. But they have a large listening audience, and I believe that Stephen does a show on Trinity Broadcasting Network as well. Is that correct?
I know he has Patreon and he is on Direct TV, I believe, and Hebrew Nation.
Okay.
Does that sound right?
Yeah, I didn't know the exact name of the show, but I think it is carried through TBN, and it is affiliated to, the current events and what's going on with Israel, and so much of even with America and this, the contention between Russia and all the biblical prophecy and how it's unfolding and happening in Syria, and uh, the whole thing with Iran as far as the contention there as well, which is all part of the Ezekiel, the gathering, all the nations gathering around and about Israel, and the prophecy of Zechariah 12 is that Jerusalem becoming a cup of trembling amongst the nations. The whole prophecy of the fig tree, which I'm sure that that's part of what they'll be talking about with the establishment of Israel in 1948, because in my opinion, all that is connected to that. And one of the major signs, as far as the indicator for the generation that would be alive, that would witness the end of the age and also the second advent of Yahushua in coming to separate the harvest. And he said in Matthew 24, and well, the Gospels, the Gospel writers shared in Matthew 24, Mark 13, and Luke 21, and also in the Apocalypse of Peter. They asked him specifically to tell them what would be the signs of the end of the age and of his return. And that was one of the things that he implored them to know the parable of the fig tree, to understand. And then in the Apocalypse of Peter, he explains it as the regathering of the house of Israel, and that's indeed what we saw with the fulfillment of, well, not personally, I wasn't alive, you weren't alive during that time, but it did occur during our generation. I do believe it is one of the indications that we are at the end of days, and that, um, in my opinion, we will be the ones that will be alive that would see the coming and the fulfillment of all prophecy, and certainly seems to be accelerating in that way. How do you feel about that as far as the, all of what we see with current events and everything?
Oh, I totally agree with you that this is the end days. We see spiritual warfare and evil all around us, but also when you mentioned the regathering of Israel, there's a lot of people. I think Rob Skiba refers to it as an Ephraim awakening, and you talked about it with him when you had him on your show last. That this kind of I don't want to use Hebrew roots because that's become affiliated with a lot of other things that really aren't, at least what I am following and walking out, but more of a Torah awakening. Not that that's the root of salvation, but it's the fruit of salvation. And I see all of that as his people waking up and getting ready, putting on the armor, getting ready for his return.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think that even what we see with the timing, 1947, that the commandment, the United Nations um, declaring what would be the recreation of Israel, and then in May 14th, 1948, the manifestation of that, and that actually coming to fruition. But that since that time, we see the discovery of the Nag Hammadi codices, the Dead Sea Scrolls. We see the Roswell event occurring. Um, and there's been an acceleration since that time of technology and capacity as far as the pouring out of the Spirit upon all flesh. We see that the internet has come into being, and that certainly has been a catalyst for this Ephraim awakening and for just the bounty of information coming to light for everybody everywhere. And now that we've all been united in manner through the internet to where we can access all worlds and gain information from every country, and really every individual in the world can put up and have a presence on the web and share whatever they would like on the things that they are learning and have been seeking and have come to discernment upon. And so now we are really unified in body and presence and able to gather together, even with what we're doing now. And you're in the comfort of your own home, I'm in the comfort of my own home, and all the listeners that are gathered, we've come together in moment and utilizing Truth Frequency Radio as platform to share and to discuss and to have fellowship with one another in talking about whatever it is that we would like to. Um, the whole thing with the cosmology and the Hebrew roots, as you say, or the people understanding and observing Torah and unifying the Old and the New Testaments together, and even with the Apocrypha that a lot of people are studying and reading now that they have access to a lot of the extra biblical, extra canonical texts, which was not even possible um, even 2 decades. It seems like the late 90s is when really all of this kind of kicked off and all of this information started to flood into and upon the internet, and that people were able to utilize the search engines and the search bars, type in a keyword and pull up, thousands, even millions of websites all connected to specific topics. And it's really been an amazing thing. And now this generation, your kids, my kids, just the flood of information and the technology and the knowledge, the instruments that they're able to use, and uh, the computers, and now even our cell phones are rigged with so much capacity and so much uh, with the internet and TV and video and all of it all coming together in one manner is just uh, totally, in my opinion, an indication again of where we are, and that this is part of the spirit being poured out on all flesh, and that everything is coming to light. We're um, seeing everything coming to light. But so tell me about, and we will go into, as far as the flat Earth and everything. But I wanted to ask you if you've seen anything of interest late, any current events, any areas of research that you're looking into, just to kind of catch up with you. It's been a while since we've done a show together, so.
Yeah. When we had David Weiss on, he kind of alerted us to Project Bluebeam with the chemtrails.
Mhm.
And so I've listened to his Flat Earth podcast and kind of learned a little bit about how they might not actually be planes up there producing these chemtrails. Who knows what it is? They're spraying the sky so much it's becoming any kind of a backdrop for any kind of hologram. And they have that kind of technology now. And just as you were speaking about all the information exploding, it made me think of that Daniel prophecy that it was in the end times that all this information will come out. So,
Mhm.
um,
Seal it up until the time of the end.
mm-hmm,
Mhm.
most definitely. And then, of course, delving more and more into some of your teachings, like the serpent seed, which is of such high interest to me right now. And been talking about that with some other close friends locally here to me. And uh, I've got your book, so I'm diving in.
Excellent. You know, I don't spend a lot of time listening to other people's shows or listening to a lot of other broadcasts, but I've been listening to David and Matt on the Flat Earth podcast, and those guys, they crack me up. I mean, they are really good. I really enjoy listening to their shows, and I have made it a point now to spend at least some time every week listening to those guys, and I do enjoy. I think they've got a high quality broadcast, and I think their collaboration is really a cool thing too. In that Matt is very well versed in the scriptures and is a Christian and knows the Bible, especially with regard to flat earth and biblical cosmology, and that David tries to avoid any association, as far as connecting the Bible to flat earth, and goes out of his way to, to kind of avoid using the Bible as confirmation for flat earth truth. But it's intriguing to see them being so opposite spectrum, the opposite ends of the spectrum, and coming together and having uh, just you can tell they're really good friends and that they really work well together. They got a really cool sense of humor, and they work well off of one another in joking around, and you can tell both of them are dedicated to listening and studying even other people's work. And so that's pretty awesome as well. It's that they have the time to keep a pulse on what's going on in the community, and they have close connections with all of the different people that are doing the work, and that have their own broadcasts, which also, it's exciting as well that Robbie Davidson is going to be joining us at freedomslips.com, and he's going to have his own show, Celebrate Truth, there on the network. And
Nice.
yeah, I was able to secure him a position there, and so that's going to be starting up at some time as well. So, all right, we'll be right back, everyone. All right, welcome back, everybody. And so, what I was saying was that Robbie's going to be doing a show Saturday.
Hey, Zen, we can't hear you very well. That's better.
Okay, sorry about that. I had the mic position weird. Have him doing interviews with all the contacts he has, and having that platform to share his truth. It's going to be a really beautiful thing. But anything else new as far as any other information, or that you've been looking into? Any other people that you regularly listen to that you've learned anything? Laurel, are you there?
Sorry, I had it on mute. Didn't realize I still had it on mute. I'm trying to think of what I have seen recently, but nothing's coming to mind. Might just be my nerves being on the show again after so long. But
it's all good.
Really, you and Rob are pretty much predominantly the only ones I really listen to anymore. I feel very grounded in my flat earth belief, and kind of follow some on Facebook. I follow Patricia and Carly Sunshine and David Weiss and a few others. But what a lot of people probably don't know is I had my adult son move back home at the end of June, who has severe autism. He used to be in residential. So just with day services and the adjustment to him being here and the family transitioning and everything, it's kind of limited my time to be able to really explore the way I want to be able to. That's why I'm really looking forward to this conference. And just, everybody needs a little bit of a break once in a while, and this will be a really nice break. My daughter Genevieve will be flying out with me to Denver, and she's looking forward to seeing you all. And we're just looking forward to hearing all the speakers and all the great things that they have to say, taking some pictures, meeting the people, all that are like-minded, like belief. And you kind of feel a sister brotherhood with those who have come to the flat earth awakening. There's just something that is very special when you meet someone that is a flat earth believer, that you feel an instant, there's a bond or a connection that kind of happens. And that's what happened last year, and I'm looking forward to it again this next week.
Yeah, I am as well, especially since I did not get a chance to gather with everybody last year, even though we had a large presence there with you and Carol and Kathy and others representing us. Mala was also working with us and will be again, which reminds me, I have he came down and did a number of interviews with us, and so I'll have to post all that up where we're talking about the conference and this awakening, as well as so many others. But yeah, you're right. There's a special connection because really there's still so few of us, with regard to having this revelation and understanding the enormity of it, because it's connected to so many things, and it, as far as the deceptions and lies, and how so many people think that we're gullible and we're morons for believing this. The really, it's the opposite is true, that people are foolish and gullible for supporting and buying into the indoctrination that we live on a globe without ever second guessing or challenging it, and to hold on to such belief in light of now all this, where there's so much opposition and so many of us that are imploring others at least to open your mind at least for a day or so and just do one thing. Go out there and try to find and measure curvature. I mean, because if you did that one thing, you would come to knowledge that there is no curvature, and even the natural properties of water, it's impossible for water to adhere to a ball or to settle in a curved form. And when we go to the beach, and which all of us have, or I would say at least most of us have been to the beach, have seen the water spread flat and level across and around the dry and habitable land, and that it always settles out from one end of the horizon to the other, completely flat, completely level, and no curvature to be found anywhere. And so it's so easy to come to truth on this knowledge, but so many people are unwilling. And because of that, they are not able to overcome their indoctrination. And that's the hardest thing for most people. And that is the one thing which keeps them really locked up to ignorance. And they're, again, making fun of us and calling us, you know, conspiracy theorists and tinfoil hat and a helicopter crew, whatever the negative connotations are, that are connected to this particular group. But again, it's so easy to determine that there's no curvature. I mean, that's one of the things that I wrote about in my speech, is the Bedford Level experiment by Samuel Burley Robotham, and how even that one experiment, if you just go out to any stretch of land, just like Pastor Dean Odell when he went out to the bay, there, near Gulf Shores, or wherever he lives at in Alabama, and just looking over a stretch of land, just saying, same as Jaron, when he did the laser test over a stretch of 3 miles. It doesn't even have to be that far. And now that you have the P900 camera and you're able to, I know my son, when we went on the cruise here, he was able to watch boats disappear out into the ocean, um, being so far that they disappeared, and what most people would say that they went over the curvature and disappeared and were unable to be seen. But yet with that camera you can zoom in and bring them back into view, and you can see from the bottom up, the fullness of the ship. There's no disappearing over the curvature. It's just only disappearing because the naked eye cannot see that far in distance. And so these kind of things, telescopes, anybody can use um, these particular instruments, which are now available to us in this day and age, to verify the whole fallacy that ships disappear over the curvature. That is also, that whole postulation is ludicrous. And And so, as far as the flat Earth, I'm like you. I'm very secure in my knowledge and what I have studied and what I've come to discernment on. And really, even though there's still a lot to learn, uh, there's just, in my mind, I'm not really seeing a whole lot of new information coming out. Not saying there isn't. I'm sure there is, but um, because I, really like you, I'm busy with my work and the things that I do. I don't have a lot of time to go and study all that everybody else is putting out. So it's nice to keep up with just a few different shows. I know that Mark and Patricia and also David Wise and Matt, that they keep up with the information, and then that way they are keeping us informed on those things that are new. And so that's nice that they can do that, and I don't have the time to do that. And flat Earth isn't my only focus. I mean, it is one of the things that I came to revelation upon, but it's not my entire. I know my whole broadcasting career is not depending on it, and it's not the only thing that I talk about in the work that I do. And so,
I've never seen anyone cover flat Earth in the manner that you do. There are others that cover from the biblical perspective, but every minute detail you have in your trilogy, uh, to the it's so impressive. And that is why I am looking so forward to hearing you speak at the conference. It will just be an amazing event this year having you there. We really missed you last year, Zen.
yeah, well, I appreciate that, and it will be nice to be with everybody. And I am looking forward to sharing, because I won't be repeating what everybody else has already done in the different, with the Flat Earth Conference in Canada and the one from last year. And I think that Rob, he does a superior job of bringing forth this information from the Bible. My focus will be on sharing its connection to all of the other texts, and specifically to the book of Enoch, because it was my embracing and being open minded to this, and then revisiting those texts in the book on the courses of the heavenly luminaries, that all my information about flat Earth comes from the ancient sources. And so, and I know that my work is unique in that manner, in that nobody else is. Even though Rob really does cover it in great detail from the Bible, I cover it from all of the ancient sources. Not just the Bible. And I don't know of anybody else that is really doing that, because most people don't study the all of the manuscripts that I am familiar with, and because of that, they don't understand it in the detail that I've been able to glean from reading and being familiar with all of these other sources. So
And those ancient manuscripts have really come alive in recent years, wouldn't you say?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's only been 3 years that so much of this has now come to light in the manner that the Most High has led me to be able to compile it. And, I have found so much information that I've been able to release over 1,400 pages of material, which have become the Flat Earth trilogy as I've released it. Um, the Flat Earth has key to decrypt the Book of Enoch, the firmament vaulted dome of the earth, and paradise, sides of the north, and the mount of the congregation. That in those three books I build upon, well, my initial awakening and the decryption of the book on the courses of the heavenly luminaries, but then the whole concept of the firmament, which I think is and what Rob talks about as being key for understanding the Genesis narrative, and that there is a solid structure fitted to the circle of the earth, and that God has established his heavenly throne room, the heavenly temple in paradise upon the vaulted dome of the earth, the sea of glass that John the Revelator speaks about in Revelation 4 and 15, and that Moses speaks about in Exodus as being a paved work of sapphire. All these things come to life in a way that just was not possible just 3 years ago. All this information had been lost for thousands of years, at least the last 500 years. And so,
Yes,
yeah,
your
it's a
description
beautiful
of the
thing.
throne room with that sapphire, it brought me to tears when I read your book.
Yeah. That information was deeply profound for me as well. To come to realization as to where the Most High has established his throne and where he is, even now, anybody can go outside and find Polaris, and that's that's where the Most High is seated. I mean, that is deeply profound, and to know that we're not in an ever expanding universe where there's every sun or every star out there is a sun and they all have planetary systems around them, and that he's involved in having to keep up with all these different races and all these extraterrestrial beings, and who's he watching over, and how could he keep up with all of it? Not that he couldn't, being God and being omnipresent and everything, but still to know that we are the the apple of his eye, and that we are his bride and the prodigal child, and that we are the narrow focus of, um, as far as his everything, the whole endeavor of what he has established in the creation, and bringing us to be a part of existence within the creation is, I mean, all of that is so deeply profound. And then it makes the Bible come alive in a way that is very deeply intimate, and our relationship with the Father and the Son being that much more profound. Um, it for me as well, it brought a very intimate, um, as far as relating and understanding the Creator and the creation. It not one that could be gleaned from the whole Copernican ever expanding universe in that particular model. And so,
It's personal.
yes,
And
yeah,
even
absolutely.
how even creationists join hands with the evolutionists with even what they say about the moon being a reflective ball off of the sun's light. Well, scripture says it's its own light, and it
Yes.
even gives off a cooling light. And there's experiments that can be done if you take a reading of a temperature in the moonlight. It's cooler than if you go into the shade.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And to me it shows that the moon is not reflecting the sun's light because the properties are completely different. The sun's light is very fiery, and using a magnifying glass, you can focus it and even create a fire to where, um, the heat will even rise even more, um, and the temperature will increase. But doing the same thing with the moon's light, that it actually decreases. And so, um, yeah, that is a very intriguing study in and of itself, and that's another one of those things that confirms, because again, the scriptures say, as you mentioned, that there he created two luminaries, um, the greater and the lesser lumen. Well, all the stars and the planets as well, but specifically two great luminaries to rule over the day and the night, and that the sun creating the and being over the daytime, that's when we are to be awake and to work and to do the things that we need to during the activity of day. And then the moon rules over the night, and the night is for rest and quiet, and it's in sleeping and dreams that our bodies are healed and um, we are, our we are regenerated and our vitality is restored. And so those two things uh, help to maintain the balance of how the creation works. That we see in the morning when the sun rises, that all of the animals, and I kind of believe that the way that the trees are holding up their arms and the way that they reach for the light, that they are kind of in prayerful meditation.
Oh, that's
That
beautiful.
Yeah, that they are kind of in prayerful meditation, and that the birds and all the cicadas and the uh, everything in the morning, they begin to sing a song of praise. And when I read that the creation timeline from the legends of the Jews, it speaks about this, how the creation, all of them sing together um, the praises to the sun and to day, and in that way they're honoring their creator and thanking
Hallelujah.
him. Yeah, exactly. Hallelujah. Yeah, thanking him for the new day and for new opportunity and new life and waking from new dream. And so it's beautiful how the creation acknowledges and works in that manner. And it's humanity that misses all that and that has separated themselves from all of that praise giving that is going on in the natural harmony of how um, the creation works and unfolds. And then in the evening, when the sun leaves and sets and disappears from perspective, that all of the creatures again come together in unison and begin to sing and to croak, and the cicada, the
Thank him
everything.
for the day.
Yeah, they're thanking him for the day and saying goodbye to the sun, and then gathering together for sleep and rest and um, just the restoration that comes with sleep and dreams. So it's a beautiful way that all of that works, and how if we take the time to recognize the beauty of how the Most High has established the creation for all of our benefits, and that the natural world and all the animals of the natural world, they are continuously, just acknowledging and giving thanks to the Creator, how much we could learn from just the way that the creation unfolds every day.
And look at how the adversary has tried to get us away from that. I mean,
Hmm.
I know you spend a majority of your day outside with
Try to.
nature,
Mhm.
reading Torah, reading the ancient manuscripts, doing a lot of work, and really connecting with creation, connecting with nature. But look at how society has got us into this mode. A lot of people are trapped really in these 9 to 5 jobs, 5 days a week, or the kids. When I was a kid, we were outside till the street light came on. That was our cue that we had to
Yeah,
come in when the street light came on.
right.
Kids today, none of the kids in my neighborhood, and I'm in a pretty good neighborhood. None of the kids out here play outside that much at all.
Right.
They're Oh, I hear
Yeah,
the music.
yeah. All right, we'll be right back for second hour, and then we'll pick it up. But yeah, don't forget that thought, because I want to talk more about that. Be right back, everyone. All right, welcome back, everybody, for second hour. I'm your host, Zen Garcia. This is Secrets Revealed here on Truth Frequency Radio. And I have a special guest with me this evening, Laurel Austin. And I wanted to cover what you were talking about before we went to break about how the enemy, the adversary, Satan has created and established a matrix now where we have this virtual reality of video games and TV and movies and entertainment and technology, the internet, and um, all of this distraction that keeps us locked away and separated from what is going on in the creation and in reality, and how I like to be out in it. I like to feel the sunshine. I like to watch my roses bloom. I like to watch the birds come to eat from our feeders, and I like to watch the clouds cross the sky and listen to the kids play, and just to feel the wind through my hair, and just all of that, and how so many kids, they take no notice at all as to anything that is going on outside. I mean, you can ask them, have you ever seen a sunrise or a sunset, and the beauty that of that whole transition, that unfolding of day into night, or um of night into day. I mean, it's, to me, it's the most incredible movie, and every day we have access to this twice a day, and I really am envious of people that live on or near the oceans and that can watch the sunset or sunrise on water, because it's just so incredible, watching it in, the whole interplay in that way, the elements, the sun, the water, the sand, all coming together, and just the beauty of that particular moment. There's nothing better than a sunrise or sunset on water, but just how so many kids they have no connection to even desire spending any time outside, and all they want to do is play video games, and to be on their Xbox, or to be on their phones or Facebook or whatever it is. And so they're totally disconnected. And last thing here, and then I'll get you to comment. But I remember a day when I was 22 years old, and I had written my first book and released it, and it was all about wanting to break away from the 9 to 5, the regular routine of, you know, being a slave to the corporate system, and of finding myself, because at that time I was working a job, um, and then I was going to martial arts, and then after that, I would fight every night, and then after that I would go and work out, and then get into a sauna and a steam room and kind of wind down, and that's how I would end my day. But I noticed that I was always behind walls and windows, and or
Mm.
in a car or in a building, and I was always separated from the creation. And so I wanted to break that whole cycle, and that's when I decided to sell everything and then buy a van, and then to just hit the road and live in this van for what ended up being 4 years, and just traveling everywhere and experiencing the world and going to all the different national parks and state parks and just places of beauty, and allowing that to inspire me. And at that time I was writing books of poetry, um, but that was part of the experience of where I was able to seek and find and have personal experience of the divine. And doing that and having that, um, really prepared me for what ended up being the next cycle of my life when I acquired a disability, and then was basically forced into a meditative role kind of all the time, because I believe that paralysis is forced meditation. But um, and so in it, having that relationship with the Most High previous to acquiring a disability, it really helped me to gather the pieces of what was yet unbroken, and to redefine myself, and to re reestablish myself in role and mission, and to know that even though I was physically limited, that I still had a higher purpose and something that I needed to do and accomplish. And so that's kind of the role that I've been, the the life that I've been living since that time. But I know for a lot of people, they are never able to find that in their own lives. And I wrote in one of my poems that I would rather be found and in my wheelchair than lost and walking around. And really, that's how I feel about everything. And so I'm blessed to, I feel, at least understand my purpose and what I'm here to do. And I could only wish that for everybody else, and especially for the children that are so lost and wayward that they not don't even have any concern for the creation or experience of it. And that to me is really, really sad for them. But if you would finish up your thought on what you were
Well,
talking about before we went to break.
yes, but I first want to say, after what you just said, that, and there is a consensus, many people I have discussed this with that listen to you, that know you, that we're all mutual friends with. It's really a beautiful thing. None of us have ever heard you complain, not once, about your disability. And we all believe it's because of that, partly because of that disability, that you found God, you found the
Yeah,
Messiah, the
right.
Son. But I've seen up close the struggles and the challenges that you face. Yet I just think it's beautiful that you don't ever complain about it, and you just press forward, and you make the very best with what you have. So just want to mention that, in just what an inspiration you are. So back to the technology and all of that, it's not without its cost,
Yeah.
because we are a generation with migraines, back problems, neck problems,
Right.
obesity, um,
Yes.
disconnecting from family, broken marriages, children, prodigal children. So it has come at a great cost.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the other thing, which, not that this is something that affects you and I directly, but for a lot of people, I know that with the internet and with the advent of the dark web, that a lot of people are now addicted to like pornography, and that having easy access to the whole adult film and movie industry and all of that, that people are literally addicted to pornography to where they are watching it while they're working, and they have it always on their computers, or they download it or whatever. And that it has caused and affected their relationships. And I've had even some of my friends tell me about how their relationships, they can't find intimacy anymore because of people's involvement with that kind of thing. And it's really ruining people's lives. And that's just another aspect. As far as for adults, it's like their video game, that a lot of people are addicted to pornography the same way that kids are addicted to video games. And this again is the enemy. The whole thing we were talking about and have been talking about with Alice Bailey's the 10-point plan for destroying the family in order to implement the New World Order, that they wanted to utilize and to normalize abomination by first attacking and destroying the family and establishing and creating a focus on individual rights. That people should live as they want, they shouldn't worry about or care about or adhere to the sanctity of marriage, or and the whole divorce rate and all of that has come up. Um and so in this generation, and again with our being the last generation, we are seeing a degradation of what used to be the nucleus of the family and the traditions and the Christian values and beliefs that were taught and passed down from grandparents to their parents and to the children, and that has all now become lost, so that everything is turned upside down, and what we believed to be abomination previously, just even 1 or 2 decades ago, has now all been normalized, so that um, even bestiality now is legal in Canada, and then you have the whole homosexual and transgender agenda, which um, is to where now, as I showed and shared with you and a few others, that the education system is trying to teach um, to kids in elementary school that there's no no real genders, and that they're are muddling all of that, and they're trying to normalize sexual behaviors, um, and also the kids to be bisexual in their um, explorations. And so, I mean, good is evil and evil is good, and that again to me is another indicator that we are at the end of days, because a lot of prophecies speak about that, how the gender roles have become mixed and twisted and discombobulated, and certainly we are seeing that.
It's another reason to homeschool.
Yeah, I fully agree. I mean, it's really dangerous to send your kids to school now. Another thing that uh, in the video, I believe I sent it to you, the teacher that had come out and
Oh yeah.
to remember, and she was talking about how the school had they were sending and even buying these different books and sending it um, to and giving them to these kids to read, and that in these books they were not only involving them in the occult and in belief in the supernatural, and that they had the whole thing with like Twilight, the vampires and the werewolves and the desire to be like them, and that they also in this, I forget the name of the book, but that they were teaching and normalizing that young girls should seduce their teachers, and that now that has all become a normal uh, a part of the educational experience as well, that teachers are engaging in sex with their students and students are engaging in with sex with their teachers. And I mean, it is crazy. They're even having sex in bathrooms on campus, and we're seeing this kind of thing amongst elementary school kids. I mean, it's just crazy. It's really out
Those
of hand.
teachers need to go to jail.
Yeah, I agree, but it's not just, well, oh yeah, definitely the teachers that take advantage of the students, absolutely they need to go to jail. But it's entire school systems. I forget exactly the name of the I'll have to look up that particular video, but It was the name of this teacher that had come out in Texas, and I forget the name
Was
of
that a
the
female teacher
female teacher, and I
that
forget
ended
the
up
name of the
marrying the
organization.
student?
Oh no. Well, no, I'm talking about the teacher that came out and broke all this to the parents and told them
Oh,
about this
yes.
agenda. But yeah, there's a lot of teachers that, yeah, I know the one that you're talking about that married her student and then had kids with him, and yeah, that went to jail, and then after she got out of jail she married him.
Hmm.
um yeah, it's just crazy.
I mean, once he's 18, 21, whatever,
Right.
then it's a different ball game. But before then, should be hands off, off limits.
Hmm. And she was even previously married and had kids
That's
older.
adultery as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was adultery as well. And so, anyways, these kind of things are being normalized. You see all across the board in every state now, that students are having sexual relationships with their teacher, and that this has now become part of a fantasy role playing type of a game to them,
Well,
and that
kids
they're
can
actively
access
seeking
porn.
out. Well, yeah, and I mean, and that's part again of the problem that, you know, pornography is so rampant and so widespread that kids can access it just by having access to the internet. Anybody can look up and search for pornography just by typing up a particular keyword, whatever it is that they want to search for, and out there's millions probably of websites that have um, hardcore pornography and easily available to children. And so, again, that's a part of the normalization and the sexuality, the abomination, as far as leading these kids into, because I don't know. I don't watch pornography. I don't know what's out there anymore, but um, I know that it's insane with the internet, all kind of craziness.
Well,
Uh,
homosexuality has infiltrated primetime TV
right?
and even sexual talk. I recently watched an episode of Friends, and it's been quite a while, like 8 years, I think, since at least 8 years since their seasons ended, since that series ended. But I did not remember, and I think it's because I'm so much more awake now, all the sexual innuendos and references that they make.
Hmm.
And I loved that show. Friends was a
Right.
great show, but it is so sexual, and there's a lot of homosexuality mentioned almost every show. And the kids, they love this. So there's also violence. All these video games, if a video game, it's not good to the kids unless it's like a fighting, killing game.
Hmm.
So they're getting conditioned to kill people. It's assimilation. This is
Hmm.
how like our military is trained. And they're
Right.
doing this, and it's desensitizing them. And what is our Father in heaven say? He says, love him with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and then love your neighbor as yourself.
Hmm.
Don't practice killing him in a game.
Right. Right. And again, we recognize that not every child um, is going to be persuaded to act upon what they are learning in these video games. But these children that are growing up in this day and age, they are affected. The vaccines have affected them. The pharmaceuticals that they are taking have affected them. Many of them are depressed, and they're taking these antidepressant, very strong psychoactive medications, and their thinking is not right. You know, a lot of kids are now bipolar, manic depressive, hearing voices, um, and in that way are, in my opinion, being demonically influenced, and that we are seeing daily now shootings happening from people that are simply losing it. And so these video games and those kind of people that play them that are of this kind of mindset, well, in my opinion, yeah, what they see in the video games and also what they see as far as the violence on TV, um, in the movie theaters, that is actively causing people to plot murder, and that they are acting out in frustration against the society that they don't fit into and don't know how to uh, manage to take care of themselves. And because of that, a lot of them are simply of the mindset that they want to kill themselves and kill as many as they can in the process of going out of this world. And they don't believe in any repercussions. They don't believe in a judgment. They have no relationship with God. And so we see now, even this is the suicide bomber mentality, you know, the terrorism, and those that side with Al Qaeda and choose to act against what we know is organized evil, as far as the governments of the world that, you know, support and fund terrorism, the real and true terrorism, um, and that these kids that join these groups, they have no idea that they're being manipulated, and that the forces that they are fighting against have tricked them into becoming really cannon fodder for the controlled opposition that they have established. But they're not able to understand it, that they're just pawns in the game. And so the the Illuminati that are behind and that are funding the terrorism through the governments, and that are arming them on both sides and profiting off of it, it's these kind of people that, you know, these kids are wanting to take revenge against, but they have no idea that the tops of these terrorist groups are being run by these CIA double agents and informants. And same thing as what we saw occur in with Steak Knife, this guy named Steak Knife, who was a double agent for the Irish Republican Army, and it was later discovered, and he was the top terrorist, and he was leading and controlling and directing all of the terrorist events that the Irish Republican Army was um, lashing out against the UK government, and he was working for the UK government the whole time. And so, you know, this is kind of the double role that, and we see this in the Born Supremacy, that whole series of movies that the CIA, you know, the their agents are funding and recruiting terrorism and supporting terrorist plots, and that's just the way it's been for a very long time.
Do you mind if I read Stephanie's comment in the chat? She made a
Yeah,
really good
please,
point
yeah,
about
go right
this.
ahead.
Stephanie said, children are completely addicted to technology. If they offer a chip which will allow this generation to interface with their computers and gaming systems more seamlessly, they would then up and get it. And that could be the mark of the beast someday, you know?
I fully believe that, and you know, it's a crazy thing, but Joe Rogan and the I forget the guy's name, the guy that started Tesla. Um, If anybody knows what I'm talking about, please put his name in the chat room. But the guy that founded Tesla, he's multi-billionaire, but he was talking about the same thing and how our cell phones and our computers are an extension of who we are, and that they are the cybernetic component of what would be a artificial intelligence, a cyborg unit, and that at some point, instead of being um, instead of being outside of us, it's going to be within us.
Joy
Elon
says
Musk.
Elon Musk. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. All right, we'll be right back. All right, welcome back, everybody, for final segment. I do want to remind everyone that next week I will not be here for the live broadcast, and so it will be a repeat of a randomly um, dated show, and so but we will follow up, and I'll be able to let you know about our experiences at the Flat Earth International Conference, and I do look forward to seeing a lot of you there, and certainly do come up and also we'll be having a raffle. We're going to be giving away 15 of our Flat Earth titles, including those that I have published myself, the trilogy, which those 3 will be autographed, and then the others will be just a copy, a hard copy, well, a soft copy, but an actual print book of one of the publications that we've shared. And also, I wanted to let everybody know that one of our editors, Carol Austin, uh, not a sister for for Laurel, both of them just happen to have the same last name, but she has been working hard on a trilogy of children's flat Earth books, which are based upon the work that I brought forth um, in my flat Earth trilogy, and you can find those at the sacredwordpublishing.com or .net website. And the first one is called Flat Earth Chronicles: Earth Stands Fast, and the second one is going to be I forget the exact name, but it will have something. It will be focused on the firmament, and then the third one will be like the Paradise and the Sides of the North and Mount of the Congregation. It will be bringing out greater detail on the various aspects of the cosmology and to explain them in greater detail as well. And this particular book, the Flat Earth Convention notes that we are releasing, it has not only 60 pages of photographs that Laurel took of these speakers and also of the crowd and the different individuals that attended, but it also has in 2 sections over 6 chapters um, my speech in greater detail than I will have time to present it at, because I only have 45 minutes to speak, and so I was had to narrow down um, 130 pages of material into a 45-minute speech. So you can rest assured that I had to basically exclude most of what I wanted to say and be very concise with what I was going to be presenting on, which is my testimony of, how the Most High led me to decrypt the book of Enoch's courses on the heavenly luminaries. And then I'll be sharing biblical and ancient sources which confirm in multiple witness the movements that Enoch describes the sun and the moon going through. And so all that will be brought forth. But in this particular book as well, there's a whole other section on the structure of creation where I answer very simplified and very directly as to things like what is the shape of the earth, what is the firmament, what does it consist of, things like that. What is the form, the structure of creation, all these different things. What are eclipses? What are shooting stars? All these different types of things from the scripture. And so you can find all of that as part of this particular book. And I think that anybody that reads it and studies it will be greatly blessed by the way that I was able to structure it in not only speech, um, but it does contain also the speech that I gave, um, the opening speech that I gave at the Global versus Flat Earth debate, where Dr. Stephen Pidgeon and I, my opening remarks are the introduction for this particular text, and then I go into the speech I'll be giving at this particular conference. And so all of that you can find. And the cover ended up being really beautiful. Gerard, one of our illustrators, he just does an excellent job. And so I'm really well pleased with it. And that's going to be one of the books that we'll be giving away there as well. And we will be putting together the images that Laurel will be taking at this particular conference, together with, I'm sure, some kind of new flat Earth information. However, we decide to publish and release that, that we still have to do a book on all the eclipse photos that she took as well. But um, we'll have more time after the November conference, that we've been focused in a great majority of our time with preparing for and getting ready for this conference, and all of the books and the publications, and really looking forward to meeting everybody there. Laurel, what would you like to say about all that?
Do you want to mention some of the goodies that you're going to have there, like the bags and shirts and stuff?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that was one of the things I know that a lot of people, when they purchase books from us, and we're not going to have as many books as we had last time. We basically had a whole mall
Yeah,
there, but that
literally.
was easy access, and we were able to drive a huge U-Haul full of um, books and stuff there. But this time we're going to try to limit to 3 to 5 copies of the different titles. And we're mainly bringing just the flat earth related material. But we do have t-shirts, as well as we have some polar fleece jackets that have Sacred Word Publishing on them. And the firmament shirts, of course, we're bringing some of those. And then we have bags to actually, for you and those of you that purchase multiple copies of the books, to have some place to easily carry them. And so you won't have to just, walk away like you left the library with a huge stack of books, but you'll have something convenient, a canvas bag with Sacred Word Publishing, to carry it off. And then we'll have our notebooks and pens and things like that. We have some stickers as well that we put together, of the firmament vaulted dome of the earth, and also of the Gleason map. And so, yeah, we're going to have, of course, not as much as we had last time, but we will
Still a
have
nice
some
spread.
stuff. Yeah, we will have some incredible information there, and I think it will be certainly bless those that have never seen uh, the bulk of content that we have connected to flat Earth as topic. That there's so many books, but anyways, I'll get you to comment, and then I'll pull up a
Okay.
list of the books that we're actually going to be bringing. So
Well, the most important thing is that you're going to be there. And
yeah,
also Justin and Joy as well. and Carol, and I will be there with my daughter and Genevieve, and also a new wonderful woman that has come on board and helped Sacred Word Publishing a lot, Jill. Will
Yes.
be
Uh-huh.
there. And
her husband. Yes.
isn't there going to be a meetup too?
Yes. We're gonna have a kind of a gathering the first night that we're gonna be there. It's gonna be a long night for me because at 7:30 there's a VIP and speakers gathering, and then at 9 o'clock there's a kind of a walkthrough of what we're going to be doing. And so, but before that time, after dinner, before 7:30, we're going to make ourselves available in the lobby for those that may not be attending the conference, but that just want to meet with us. Because we have had some people saying that they would like to meet with us, but that they're not attending the conference. And so this will be the one time where we're going to have that availability. And so Wednesday, the day that we get there, which Emily and I should be coming in around 2 o'clock or so. So we'll have a little time to get all of our stuff, settled, and then rest, and then gather together with you and Genevieve, and then we'll be able to meet downstairs with my children, and we're gonna set up and sell some stuff for a little while, and I'll be autographing books, and we'll be doing this kind of gathering. And so if you would like to meet with us but you're not attending the conference that Wednesday evening, which I believe is what, the 13th, is it? Is it the 13th?
14th.
The 14th? Okay, it's the 14th. And so, yeah, the 14th, you can gather together with us. We'll even, gonna eat dinner together. And so that would be a good time to share conversation and meal. And then after that, we'll come out into the lobby, hang out there for a while. And then I will go and meet with the presenters. And then after that, we'll meet with um, which I was actually going to ask you if you wanted to come with me on that, so we could do photos and everything. But
Yes.
but we'll talk about that when we're there. And so yeah, and then
I'm
of
your
course
shadow
next
this
day.
whole week.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so yeah, definitely. I definitely want you to get a lot of photos and want you to have access to everything. And so and I know Robbie will appreciate that as well, especially when he sees this book and sees all the photos that you've taken and the way that we've compiled it. I think he's going to be well impressed, and that the flat Earth conference being documented in that way, and that a whole book that we put together, a book for just that gathering, and we'll do again after this gathering. I think that's going to be a
Yeah.
really
Like a
cool thing.
memorial.
Yeah, fully a memorial, because that's a historical event, and so
Definitely. The first international flat earth conference ever.
right, right. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to meeting everybody. I know there's going to be a lot of presenters and a lot of people gathered there, and a lot of what we have talked to a lot of people, but with not being able to meet them face to face. And I know you and Sheila became really good friends, and that her and Rob will be there as well. And so it'll be good to meet Rob. I've got great respect for him and the work that he does, and so it'll be nice to, because the work that we've done together, even up until this point, has blessed a lot of people, and I receive feedback all the time about how the shows that we do together has been greatly beneficial for a lot of people looking into these topics. But um, I'll let me get you to comment, and then I'll read a list of these books that we're going to be, the flat Earth titles that we're going to be giving away.
Yeah, I always enjoy when you and Rob do a show together. It's just because you both bring mutual agreed but different perspectives that
Right.
agree with each other, and it's always very enjoyable. So I'm looking forward to seeing Rob and Sheila and Robbie and everyone else, Patricia and Mark at the conference. I know we saw Mark last year at the debate, and that was really fun. But I'm
Yeah, that was cool.
looking forward to you meeting Patricia, and there's some local Kansas City people here, like Houston. His name is Houston. He cannot wait to meet you, Zen. So just wanted to
Oh,
give
right
him
on.
a little shout out there.
Oh,
But
right on.
yeah, we're gonna have a great time, and I'll be there. And what pictures I'm not getting, Genevieve will be getting. So we,
Right.
anyone that wants a picture with you, they just need to show up.
Yeah, and Malov, he's gonna be videotaping. I gave him
Great.
the video camera and all that, and so
I
he's got
loved
all
his
that as well.
interview with you.
Yeah, I thought that he did excellent, and I'm looking forward to getting those up on the site as well. I'm gonna try to do that before I leave. I got to get him to send me the links, but yeah, we shot three almost 4 hours a day for 3 days, and so there's a lot of information. And he interviewed myself with my children on Sacred Word Publishing as well, and their individual testimonies. And so I'm looking forward because I didn't even hear those parts, and so I want to check that out for myself as well. And yeah, I'll have that up on the YouTube probably within a couple days, so do check all that out. And also, I'll be releasing before I leave the interview that I did with Chris Pontius of Flat Earth Models, which I thought that was a really great interview as well.
Yeah.
And again, yeah, we're looking forward to hanging out with everybody and meeting and greeting and getting to know. We're like a family, and so it's a beautiful thing. We all come from a different, as far as how we were led to this revelation, but the journey to awakening is the same. I mean, all of us know without a question that the earth has no measurable curvature and that it's not moving at 1,037 miles an hour. And so, no matter what you think of its shape, you have to reconsider in paradigm everything we believe with regard to what we've been taught of the world. And so, some of the books that we are going to be releasing, in giving away, and uh, the, these books will be given away in kind of if you join our newsletter at the Sacred Word Publishing, where we will be selling our products, just come there and you can join for the newsletter, and then you will be randomly entered into this drawing. And there's going to be, like I said, 15 books, and they will be announced. All the winners will be announced at um, the Flat Earth Awards at the very end of the day. I mean, at the end of the convention on the very last day. And so we will have uh, you can sign up and register for the drawing up until about an hour before, because then we're gonna do the actual drawing and then go in and announce the winners, pass out the books, and then the Flat Earth Awards will progress from there. But the books that we're going to be giving out are The Earth Stands Fast, 50 Reasons, Copernicus versus the Bible, The Flat Earth Archival Proofs of William Carpenter, Is the Earth a Globe, Kings Dethroned, Zetetic Cosmogony, That the World is Not a Rotating, Revolving Globe, A Songwriter's Story, The Iron Republic, The Book of Earth, Flat Earth Chronicles, the Collected Flat Earth Manuscripts, and the International Flat Earth Convention Notes. And so, oh, as well as Flat Earth has key to decrypt the Book of Enoch, Firmament, Vaulted Dome of the Earth, Paradise, Sides of the North, and Mount of the Congregation, which are my personal books written on this particular topic. It's the trilogy that I've written since 2015 up until, well, last year I released Paradise at the August global versus flat Earth debate. And so we've got just a few more minutes remaining. Laurel, if you would give out your website and your contact information, and give you a chance for final commentary, and then we'll bid adieu.
Okay, it's Laurel, like Laurel and Hardy, Austin, like Austin, Texas, studio.com, or just laurelaustin.com. Facebook is probably the best place to see me, or Twitter too. I keep up pretty good with Twitter as well. So any of those.
Excellent. Link asks, what days does the conference start? It starts on the Thursday, the 15th. As far as a post for the live stream, you can find that at the IFE 2018 website. Just search for International Flat Earth Conference, Denver, Colorado. The live stream will be all there, and you can gain access to the live stream there. Robbie's going to be, he has a crew following and doing all of that professionally. So do check all that out, and we won't be actively live streaming from there, but we will be taking videos, and when I get back, we'll render all that and then convert it and upload it. But um, I'm just going to be mainly hanging out, taking photos, and doing video interviews, signing books, and meeting with everybody. And so it's going to be a busy time. But it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward. You're welcome, Link, and it's good to see you, Regla and Microcosm and Stephanie in LA Studio and all the others that are in the chat. We appreciate you, and Jazzy, I'm so glad you're doing well, sister, and glad that you were able to join us as well. And so looking forward to seeing you as well, Laurel. And we give a shout out to Genevieve. I'm going to be excited to see her, and it's going to be a fun time. And wow, as far as going to Colorado and the what would be the beginning or start of winter, because it's I'm sure
Yeah,
already snowing there. It's going to be cold, and I'm not a real big fan of cold, but
it
we'll
snowed here
endure.
today in Kansas City.
Oh, it did. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
First snow of the winter. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, it's still like 60 degrees here in Georgia, so we're even though the nights are getting cold, we're still, in the 40s. It's not terrible, in the high 40s in the evenings, but it is getting much colder, and that's part of what I'm going to be talking and presenting on, is that the sun is moving into the southern latitudes, into the lower six gates of heaven, as revealed by the book on the courses of the heavenly luminaries, and that Enoch explains the changing of the seasons and the way that the sun moves back and forth between the Tropic of Capricorn and the Tropic of Cancer through the six gates of heaven, and that's what creates the seasons. And so it's a beautiful thing, the knowledge that is encoded there, and I look forward to explaining it to people and making it make sense, so that when you review and study the book of Enoch for yourself, especially this portion on the book on the courses of the heavenly luminaries, you will be able to better understand it. And so
Well, I understand Genesis and Enoch better now, having Flat Earth awakening for
uh,
sure.
most certainly, I mean, you can't understand it trying to filter it through the heliocentric worldview, and that's one of the reasons why people should open themselves to this possibility. And the other is because the whole Darwinian Copernican model is the foundation for what will be the setup uh, for the reign of the Antichrist and the coming deception that the ancient aliens are our creators and our saviors. And so that's going to be part of it, I bet. And the whole thing with the mark of the beast and technology and so many people willing to bend down to accept that technology, even within themselves, as a microchip or a computer implant or whatever, to interface technology with humanity. That's where all this is going, in my
Mhm.
opinion.
That's how they'll buy and sell.
Yeah, buy and sell, and also, just connect and access. Because look at how much, and Elon Musk was talking about in that interview about how much smarter people are just by having access to Google, and access to the internet, and be able to search and find an answer to a question. And it's true, but not to the point that we need to give up our humanity to become cyborgs.
Well,
Um,
I don't think we retain it like we used to. I mean, I click on a name now to call someone. I used to remember everyone's phone number.
Right, yeah, yeah. And yeah, now I don't remember anybody's numbers other than a couple that I dial over and over myself.
Hmm.
But yeah, nobody. It's just, Siri, call this. So,
Yeah.
all right. God bless everyone. See
Good
you
night.
in 2 weeks. Good night, all.